Founder Mark Zuckerberg heading back to Silicon Valley tonight. He's had 2 days of pretty tense testimony on the Hill behind me. Lawmakers grilled the billionaire over the issues of privacy, security, data ownership, censorship on the social media site. Zuckerberg admitting today his own personal data was collected by Cambridge Analytica as well, something that he has in common with our next guest. Here now, Christopher Deason, a computer business owner who took a survey, innocuously enough, online back in 2014 and fell victim to a privacy breach. So, Chris, what happened to you?
Well, I took this survey, and part of the survey asked me to install an application. And like I do whenever I install any application, I reviewed the permissions. I didn't see anything that I felt was going to violate my privacy, anything that I felt was underhanded. And so I went ahead, I installed the application, I did the survey and uninstalled the application, and that was the last I heard of it until the Cambridge Analytica story first broke. And then, Facebook has now made it public that they've sent notices to people who were affected.
So you started hearing, oh, this was based on a survey. And a lot of people click on these surveys. You can make a few bucks by participating, so that's the trade-off, right?
Right.
But so then how did you realize that you had exposed all of your friends to this data breach as well?
Well, like I said, I didn't find out that I personally had been affected until this week when Facebook started rolling out the announcements and sending people notices. When the story first broke, I recognized the name of the researcher, Alexander Kogan, and I said, I remember doing that survey. I'm probably one of these people, and it turns out that I was. And so really, I was finding out the same way everybody else was through the press. I received no information or notification that anything of mine had been affected.
So when you watch all this, and you've had this personal experience, and now so many other people also realize that they got sucked into this as well. What do you think when you watch Mark Zuckerberg being questioned under fire by these members of Congress?
Well, I think the first thing he did right, at least, was to apologize, mea culpa, and accept, if not liability, responsibility for what he did and for what Facebook did. But what's going to be telling for me is not his words in the hearings. It's going to be the actions going forward in the next 1, 3, 6 months. Will Facebook actually follow through with these promises to implement new regulations? Will they actually start controlling what these companies can access about us and informing us more plainly and explicitly when third parties access our private information through Facebook?
You actually read the information, because a lot of people don't when they download an app.
Right.
But you're in the business and you went through it. So there was nothing in there that indicated in any way, are you sure, that any of your information was going to be grabbed from the people that are in your friend group?
If it was buried so deeply in the fine print that even someone with an educated eye reading carefully would have missed it.
And that's wrong, you believe?
Yeah.
So, are you going to unplug, or are you going to get off Facebook? I know it's part of your business, but
I do use Facebook to run my business, communicate and coordinate with customers, but beyond that, I've not just as a result of this story, but in general, I've tailored back my Facebook usage. I don't share as much on Facebook now as opposed to 5 or 10 years ago.
Alone. Chris, thank you very much for sharing your story. Good to see you tonight.
Yeah, no
Thanks for
problem.
coming to Washington. Quote of the night when we come back.